Another day, another Vita vlog. What's going on, everybody? So, I've been trying to mix up the content a lot lately, but you might notice that a lot of the vlogs are more like wisdom-based or just information I want to give you, maybe a little bit of motivation, because that's kind of the stuff that I've been watching a lot lately, and I'm like, you know what? I think those videos help me, so maybe my videos can help somebody else because I am somebody that has taken in information, learned it, and I feel like it's making my life better. So maybe this will be the same for other people. But one of the main things that I've been kind of wanting to talk about, I didn't know when I was going to do this video, and it is the idea of just do what makes you happy. With the caveat, even better if it makes you money. Do that, right? And I think everybody kind of knows that, right? Well, actually, that's a lie. I don't want to say that. I do think there is a large portion, maybe not the majority, there's a large portion of people that do not want to make money from their passions. They want their hobbies and their passions to just be that thing that escapes them from the world. So they're like, I don't want to make money from this. I don't want this thing that I love to become work. Which makes sense. I mean, I can say that about being somebody who made a comic book channel. I loved comic books. I turned that into like a mini career and even a podcast, and over time really hated it. I can tell you that I've read way less comics in the last year or so than I have in the last 5 or even a decade. Like, it's crazy. And it's because I turned it into a job and it wasn't a passion. So I totally understand those people. But if you can be somebody that loves what you do and make money, you should do that. And the reason why I say, maybe I didn't say that. Sometimes these vlogs just kind of ramble out. But don't give a fuck what people think about whatever you want to do. Like if it makes you happy, okay? That's the big thing I want you to do. If you think if you love something and you want to do it and you're like, oh man, society might think this is kind of weird, or like my friends and family might think I'm kind of like odd if I do this, and like what if they're gonna tell me that I can't make money from this. Fuck all those people, okay? Don't, if you genuinely believe you can do something or you want to do something that makes you happy, do it. Long as you're not hurting anybody else, you're not hurting yourself as well, and you're not breaking any laws, okay? I should put that disclaimer there, because I don't want people to be like, if you're a little in the head, I don't want you to think that it's okay to do anything just because your brain thinks it's okay. No. let's put some rules on there. Let's be realistic about this. But for the most part, if it just comes with like a judgment, because some people might think it's cringe or odd or weird, which I think is a big reason why a lot of people don't start YouTube, is because they're scared of what their friends will think, or they're scared of what their family will think. If you were to, start YouTube and make money from it, I guarantee you your family and everybody's not going to give a fuck after that. It doesn't matter if you're cringe or not, right? You just turn something you love doing into a business, and you can support yourself while they're going and working their 9 to 5 that they come home and complain about. But the reason why I wanted to do this topic is because I have been in this. I've been in this situation before, and I've changed my mind on it. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me paint you a picture. This thing right here, all my goals list here, if you were to ever read it or go watch the video that I made on my other channel about making this goals list when I turned 30, there's a lot of stuff about filmmaking on there. And I was a big film snob back in the day. Like, I was like, let me critique this film. I actually don't like it that much because of these. I was a big film snob when I was in my 20s, for sure. And I always wanted to be a film director. I knew I wanted to direct films or make movies or be in the industry since I was a junior in high school. Junior in high school. I even had my senior year, I had films class, which was amazing. And so yeah, I've always known I wanted to be in filmmaking. I do think over the years I've wanted to be more of a writer than I still want to direct, actually, but like for the most part, if somebody made me choose, like you can only be one or the other, I'd probably be a writer, because I think I like creating stories and characters and stuff like that. So that is one of my biggest dreams, is to kind of just be a writer. And it's one thing I kind of noticed when I had that mental breakdown too. I was just like, the only thing I want to do after this, after I quit everything, is become a writer. But I used to be I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this. Because some of you know that I've already mentioned this before. So as it comes to writing, when it comes to writing, I want to do everything. I want to write a children's book to writing it like an adult book, all right? I've openly said like, hey man, I'm down with writing a hentai. I'll write a hentai. But I just want to see, because like a lot of people will be like, oh, do you want to do it because you like the nasty stuff? Like no, I like the spicy stuff, but at the same time, I want to see if I could make a great story in any genre. I like the challenge, right? Like I think the thing that would be the hardest for me to write is like a fantasy novel, like something along the lines of like Lord of the Rings or freaking Game of Thrones. I feel like that would be really hard for me to write because that's not really my cup of tea. Like I don't do a lot of stuff with dragons and magic and all that kind of jazz. And I feel like people that really get into that are like, super intense. Like I would be so open to playing D&D, but I feel like I would get really confused with the game. I could definitely not run my own. I'd have to join somebody's. But for the most part, I think it's a cool concept, but it's just not it's not my forte. Like I'm more like superheroes and creating characters like that and whatnot. And I just don't have a lot of knowledge in that. But I do like the challenge of possibly writing one because I'm like, okay, because I love to research stuff, which is very bad for my anxiety, but I like to research things. And so I would spend a lot of time like learning about magic or learning about alchemy and learning about this and that. And so I can build these characters to make them better. And so in those situations, I want to write everything. And a part of that is, again, like spicy stuff. I've said this on a live stream before. I would totally write something like 50 Shades of Grey, but just hopefully better because I haven't read that story, but I've heard it's not the best well told. But I just like the challenge. I'm like, can you make like, can you actually write something that is spicy that people love it for the plot and not just the spicy, right? Because we have that joke of like, I read it for the plot. But I'm like, can you do that? And I'm very curious if that is possible. But I used to be very anti this. This is what I'm telling you. You can change over time. And I think for the longest time, I wasn't very open about like being willing to write something like that. Because I thought people were going to judge me. I thought people were going to like, be like, whoa, bro, like, are you a pervert? And all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, we're fucking just human beings. Who gives a shit? But I remember this one time when I was like talking about filmmaking. I think I had already made a short film, so like a lot of my friends knew I was into filmmaking and I wanted to be a filmmaker. And I had a friend who I grew up with ask me one time. They were like, "Dude, if you ever got the chance, would you direct porn?" And I was all like, "No, that wouldn't. That would be beneath me. I would not do that. That would wreck my reputation." And I think they even asked. They were like, so you'd rather be like a no-name filmmaker than like a top like porn director? And I'm like, yeah, I'd rather, for the art of it, I'd rather be the no-name filmmaker just for the art of it. And I that is like a core memory for me. Like, I don't know why I remember that so well, but I think about it now, I'm like, no, I would totally switch it up. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, my thing is just, can I make it good? Like, can I make it interesting? You know what I mean? Like, that's like, I think that's kind of how I view life now. I'm not so like uptight about like, no, it's all about the art and it's all about this and it's all about that. Like, I think I just kind of like, I'm more about opportunity and like, can I make it cool? Can I make it interesting? Because, sometimes when you do watch things, you're like, man, the plot could have been better. Or this, like, maybe this angle could have been better or whatever. I'm like, I kind of want to make stuff like that, right? But that's one story. That's a personal story of mine that has made me change my mind. And now I don't really give a fuck. I mean, look, I have these random ass statues over here, like, that I don't give a shit about. If you've seen any of the other vlogs, you can see I got my more like, my waifu statues in the back because I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what people think. I like it. It's cool. If you think I'm weird, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit. And I think a lot of people do hold themselves back from, doing what they enjoy. And I was definitely a part of that. And for the longest time, I just kind of like kept it quiet, and I'm like, I'm not gonna talk about it or whatever. But I don't give a shit. I still don't really like share my ideas because, well, I don't want anybody to steal them. But for the most part, I don't mind talking about like wanting to go into any different genre and do some work because I think it's just I like the thrill of the challenge. You know what I mean? But another story I want to share, and this is what actually sparked this video, and it made me remember that time talking to my friend asking me that question, was I was on Reddit, being a degenerate, and I got baited by somebody that was talking crap about Catwoman and Batman. Any of my nerdy viewers know I love Batman and Catwoman. It's my thing. That's my favorite comic relationship, all that jazz. And I just love reading about them. And this person was like talking shit, and it was saying that like Catwoman never stays with Batman too long, so he must have like mediocre dick. And like, one, the concept is funny. And like, but the reason I didn't get baited because of that, I got baited because they said that Batman and Catwoman don't have a long-term relationship. And I'm like, you must not read fucking comics. They literally have a child together. And if you read Tom King's arc and his like Bat Cat book that came out within the last 5 years, you would know that they literally grow old together and die. Like, actually, no, that might have, did that happen it might have been one of his one-shots. It was actually one of his one-shots, which was in canon and in the main Batman run, by the way, but I think it was considered an annual, so some people are like, oh, no, they're not actually canon, whatever. It was in the main Batman run title, so I count it. They literally grow old together. Like, Batman dies on his deathbed with Catwoman by his side. That's a long-term relationship, baby. And so, like, that's what baited me, because, like, it was just, like, false information. And I commented on it, and I just left it like that. And I just completely forgot about it. And then, like, 2 weeks later, I checked Reddit, and I saw that the person responded, and they said something else, like, just kind of the same shit. And I'm like, before I responded again, I was like, let me check if this person is a troll, which is a good thing to live by. And I checked to see if they were just somebody that went around trying to troll people. And what I got hit with was this person was like, let me introduce myself. And they were saying that they were a smut writer, which is basically, a lot of people would also know this as like fan fiction, but it's more like on the spicy side. And my Tumblr people would know exactly what this is. But essentially, it's just, they're like, I'm a smut writer. And they actually wrote about, I think they were writing about like Spider-Man and something else. And I'm like, okay, so it's like fan fiction, essentially. And I went, and they said they had a Patreon. I'm like, oh, they have a Patreon. Let me go check out this Patreon. I click on this Patreon. This person had 260 paid subscribers and was making over $1,000 a month just writing smut. And I was just like, oh my God. I was like, first of all, they still might be a troll. Like, they could be a troll, and that's what they do on Reddit. But at the same time, they're maybe side hustle or maybe their full-time job. I don't know where they live. $1,000 a month isn't much in America, but maybe it's different somewhere else if they're getting paid out in USD. And I was just like, bro, good for you. Like, even if they are a troll, I'm like, getting 260 paid subscribers for writing essentially fan fiction, because their person's never, I mean, I don't know if it's a he, but that person's never gonna own the rights to those stories, because you can't own the right to Spider-Man, you can't own the right to Batman or whatever. And so I was just all like, that must be a hobby they enjoy, or maybe something they're good at. I don't even know if they're good at it, to be honest. I didn't read any of it, although I am intrigued. I wasn't gonna subscribe to the Patreon, but I didn't check, like, maybe they have some free stuff somewhere. But I was just all like, wow, I wish. You know what I mean? I think when I had my Patreon at the height of my comic channel, I think I was maybe making over $200 a month. And that's because I had two people that were paying $50 a month. They had like a super mega credit tier. And that was probably the most I was making on Patreon at the time. And this person is fucking 5 times that by writing smut. And I was just like, dude, fuck what people think and just do what makes you happy, because that person probably is very happy writing their stories, even if it is just a side hustle, and they're making money from it. And so that's why I say, to tell this cautionary tale, don't be so serious about your passions. Don't be so like, I must be an artiste. Now, granted, I do think if you are going to get into the spicy genre in any element, whether that's going to be yourself or writing or whatever, you do need to take into consideration that it might not, being tied to that might not help you get a book deal for writing children's books. That might be bad. Although, Dr. Seuss apparently has an erotic novel out there, so maybe I'm just making shit up. And as long as you sell, and they don't give a shit. I don't know. Also, you can self-publish nowadays, so a lot of that kind of stuff doesn't matter. And I just spit on the lens, so if there's a little bit of spit on the lens, my bad. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to say, do the thing you love. Stop caring what people think about your passions and just do it. Be respectable about it. That's the one thing I will say. If you are diving into the spicy, if you are diving into the adult side, time and place is what I'll always say. If people ask you about it, you can be like, well, it is kind of not safe for work. And if they want to pry more, then, talk about whatever you want to talk about. But yeah, I think that's kind of just all I wanted to say, because that was just a funny thing that I stumbled upon a couple of weeks ago that I was like, damn, wow, extra $1,000 a month for probably writing a hobby, or maybe that's their job. Again, I don't know. But I just love that people are out here doing what a lot of people in society probably think is weird or degenerate or whatever, and they're making money from it because there are other like-minded people out there that don't care, and they're like, dude, this is harmless or whatever. And it's, you're paying artists. It's better than fucking AI, which we've talked about before. Fuck that. And so, you know what? If people are willing to pay to get their fantasies or just read some escapism stuff or whatever, and support artists and writers and all that jazz, I'm for it. Again, as long as you're not breaking any laws or not doing anything super creepy or illegal or whatever, fuck it. It's art. It is what it is. People like what they like. And, yeah. So, do what you like. And maybe you'll make some money from it. But anyways, that's it for this Vita vlog, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!